Alright guys, we'll get started here in just a minute. We're settling into the room here in Salt Lake. Hopefully you can hear me, but I think you can. Hi Gene.
Bahamas got you on the PA system overhead. Perfectly loud and clear. Lots of versatility.
Woo!
Just kidding, Bahana. What's up, sponsor?
I'm gonna have to keep scrolling.
Good question. Yeah. Giving you hearts, bro.
Hearts, hearts.
That's so cool.
Heart you. Heart you. Hold on, I wonder if I can get into it. Oh, there we go. Maybe it'll do it on it. I gotta turn it on.
Yeah.
What time is it? Alright, we'll go ahead and get started in about 5 minutes. We'll let, we got some more stragglers. As you guys know, this is live. We've actually never done this kind of format before. But I figured since with the holidays, it's tough for people to with their schedules and whatever, to make it to live events. So this was a way for us to bring the live event to your living room, to your handheld device. I know it's a lot of fancy words. I'm just actually stalling until we can actually get started. So.
Could you sing us a song?
So Kinao Tolson is in the house, and what he's going to do, since we have about 5 minutes, he's going to perform a number.
A Tomlin number?
It's pretty far behind.
Dude, that looks so
Somebody said, we'll save this.
Dude, look how it looks on stage.
I know, it looks like an Oprah. Tune in.
It looks like Las Vegas.
Alright. Lenny says audio and video says is great. Sweet. What's up says? Uh-oh.
Low battery.
Low battery.
Low battery.
Where is your
charger? It's in the wall.
Ask for extension cord.
No, just charge faster.
Well, this one's
I just need the USB.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
The cord.
it's,
Already in.
it's the same. It's the
We're
same.
going to
This
get
one
that
charges
battery
faster.
pack. Battery pack for the thing.
Because it's just a bigger.
So this one will work better.
Well, no, it's
Oh, it's alright, because he has this.
there you go. There we go, guys. Battery's charging.
Perfect.
Stop by where, Gene? I went straight out to
Look how bright Jason is.
yeah, blown out.
Yeah.
How come Gene didn't stop by?
Gene?
Yeah, to Hawaii. On his way to get Korea. God, these guys.
Twilight noon.
Twilight noon?
Kinao noon.
Kinao noon? Nobody tells me these things.
How come you never stopped by? Oh. To LA?
Yeah, I don't know. I said, how come we didn't go to Hawaii? I mean, his Crusaders beat Kahuku after all. Ooh.
Ah, I got you on that.
Hey, that's my cousin.
Oh, my bad. Wow, that's personal.
I invited you all the time, Gene. Don't lie. All right, should we get started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's roll it.
So okay, I think on this format, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post it, and I will be. Seth says we need to move closer. I think Ronnie needs to move closer so I don't look as big.
Closer together and closer forward.
I'll move further back,
There, now we look actually equal.
about the same size.
Size.
I'll move back a little. I'll move back. There we go.
There we go.
There
There
you go.
Welcome to the Ronnie and Jason Comedy Show.
So I guess the way we're going to do this, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post it on live, and I will read them to you guys. Hey, look, Lisa's watching. Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
And we also are filming in front of a live studio audience. So they'll be asking questions as well. Yeah, so guys, welcome to the first Fireside Chat live on Facebook. We're here in Salt Lake City, West Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
West Jordan in the house in this amazing restaurant called Queen Asia, Filipino restaurant that Jason and I happened upon, and it's an amazing place. So if you happen to be in town, you like Filipino food, come visit Queen Asia. We want to give them a shout out and thanks for letting us use this space. And yeah, so like Jason said, we're just going to be doing a fireside chat, Q&A. So if you have questions at home, go ahead and type them up. And of course, we're going to be taking questions here from the audience. But the reason, one of the main reasons I wanted to do this was because the Beltrans, Boyd and Twilight, had a particular issue or question that he wanted me to get on a call, but being on the road right now, it was difficult to make the schedule work out. So I decided, well, why not? Let's broadcast the powwow live, and we can answer the question via the interwebs. Technology is an amazing thing, isn't it?
So awesome.
So the question was, do you remember the question?
It was actually text to your phone. Twilight, if you're out there, can you have Gerald Boyd send out his the question again? I think it went along the lines of social media, high touch versus high tech.
Right.
If I remember correctly.
Right.
Rudy's sitting up here.
I tagged my people too.
Yeah, tag your people if you want them to watch.
Actually, I'm just sharing the video also.
Yeah, share it away. You know, like if this session goes well, that'll show it's this kind of, we're trying to see if it works, and if the format works, we'll definitely do more of these, especially given that for me in the winter months it gets harder to travel coming out off the mountain in North Carolina. So this way I'll be able to maybe do more events and do more Q&As and get in touch with you guys and feel like we're all in the same space. So yeah, Boyd's question originally that he wanted to address, that some of his team members had, was, or a difficulty they were running into was, how to build a business using social media, or how to get the word out, and how to use social media, things like Facebook, Twitter, as a tool in helping you build your business. So
Sez just texted me, said his question was, how do you leverage social media in your business? Should it be high tech or high touch?
Right. So Jason, do you want to tackle that at all? Do you want to kick it off?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm not a huge, I'm not very tech savvy, especially at the pace that technology is growing. It's hard for me, just with everything. Like my brain can't keep up with any of it. The younger generation might have an easier time and know what's current, and know what's new, and what's the best tools. However, given that, I've always viewed social media and the internet as just the next iteration or the next evolution of communication, right? It's allowing barriers that we had before of communication have really come down, and we exponentially as a species are able to communicate better and more with more ease and with more people with a tool like the internet, with things like Facebook. The way I approach it is, and high touch versus high tech. It's not in today's world. It's not really the answer isn't really one or the other, because you can't separate the two at this point. You know what I mean? Like, you can't escape technology unless you live in a log cabin on top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. The hills have eyes, Kinao says. But yeah, you can't avoid it. It's totally ingrained in everything that we do at this point. So it's a matter of how best to use it. And we get sometimes, I think, caught up in thinking that, or using social media as platform where it's us and we have an audience, right? I would caution you to make sure that you don't view it that way, because it's not you and an audience. It's you and another individual connecting, right? It's a community. It's not one person on stage, even though we are on a stage right now. It's just the format, but it's a tool for you to connect, not a tool for you to broadcast, right? So when you're building your business and you're posting stuff on the internet, a good rule of thumb that I like to use is if you don't do it, or you wouldn't do it live in person with your neighbors or with your family, then don't do it online. You know what I mean? Don't just blast it out and like an advertisement, like, because honestly, what success do you get with that, right? In the early days when I was new in this business, I would just post like a very kind of adsy post about my business or my products, and that never really got anywhere, and you find yourself getting tuned out and getting ignored. For those of you who have done that, it's okay. Again, it's a mistake that most of us make, but just realize that when you do that, you are going to get tuned out, and I believe the question has come from people who are experiencing that. So make it more about connection, right? Like we have a great opportunity with the internet to connect with people from all corners of the world, and if all you're doing is blasting out, these ads or these opportunity things, then nobody's going to want to connect with you. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do when you watch TV, or if you've recorded your favorite show, like Walking Dead was on the other night. I haven't seen it yet, but we don't watch it when it plays on the night, right? What we do is we record it and we fast forward through the advertisements, right? Same thing. If you're just blasting your opportunity and trying to get likes or trying to get people interested that way, they're going to fast forward through. They're going to scroll right through your post in their feed. And if you keep doing it, what's going to happen, at least in my experience, is that they're going to take you off their feed altogether. So what you want to use this tool, this amazing thing called the internet, use it as a way to connect with people. Use it as a way to learn more about the individual that you just connected with. Don't just friend 1,000 people just because you think that's going to be your audience. Just because you think you'll end up in their feed, and that's more people to blast your post about how much weight you can lose in our products, or the whey protein, or this thermogenics, or acidity, whatever it might be, right? Make sure you take the time in using this tool to actually connect. It's a tool for communication, and if you're not communicating, or if you're only trying to communicate one way, you're not using the tool to its best potential, right? It's got to be a two-way thing. So do the same thing that you would do in high touch or in person. Make that connection. Be more concerned about the individual, and have a genuine interest in them. And you can leverage this thing all day long. You can make connections with people on the other side of the country, on the other side of the world, and build an international business by doing that, by just using it as a tool as opposed to a marketing tool, right? So hopefully, does that clear it up a little bit?
It sounds, reading through the messages here, it sounds like people are getting it. It's a relationship building, tool to communicate. And I'm, for getting tons of hearts streaming across the screen right now. And for me, the way I look at it is, a lot of times people say, well, what is too much, right? Use your own best judgment. If you feel like people are advertising to you all the time, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there have friends that are in other companies and things like that are always posting, buy this, come to this, call this, at what point do you turn them off? Right? And it's the same thing. You're going to turn off exactly the same time that they're turning off or turning you off. So, again, perfect way to reach out, communicate, but not really sell, right? Because if you're just blasting and blasting and blasting, you become a salesperson, right? And I mentioned this the other night when we were talking. It's what's the first thing you do when you walk into a store and the clerk comes up to you and says, you know, how may I help you? And everybody's response was, you know, oh no, I'm okay, you know, I'm doing all right, I'm just looking, you know, and that's the same response you're going to get if you're a salesperson online or if you're a salesperson on the phone. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, salespeople get the exact same response across the board. So if you're a salesman on social media, why wouldn't people block you, right? Or unfollow you, or you know, whatever it might be. So
Exactly. Yeah, the truths and the fundamentals offline. I mean, I've been saying this a lot lately. The truths are old, you know what I mean? The fundamentals are still going to be the fundamentals. And so you just use those skills, the things that you've learned in the high-touch world, in the day-to-day, and just use those same principles online, and you're going to do just fine. You're going to do just fine.
all right. So did we have any questions here in our live studio audience?
Yes.
We're getting food delivered as well. It looks amazing.
Yay. Okay, so my number one thing that I have an issue with is, how do I come off without sounding so salesy? My coworkers, they know I do yoga, and I know I have the products to help them. They have seen a BBP. They know that the products do work from other, you know, coworkers that have tried it. The ones that I do want to actually try, because I know it can help them, especially with our Defend and Alkali, I talk about it and I see them shut off. Partly because I do marketing, and they feel like I'm just coming at them. How do I get past the point of feeling like a sales pitch in terms of I'm really trying to help?
So I'm not. Can somebody give me some thumbs up if you guys heard the question, or if you want me to kind of sum it up and repeat the question for you guys? I think we're still going.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just kind of reiterate the question. It's, how do I come across not sounding so sales pitchy and getting people just turning off when you approach? Oh, we got a bunch of thumbs up. We're good. So, Ronnie, go ahead.
Wow. Well, yeah, we've actually thank you, Mr. We've been getting this question a lot this week.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you come across not salesy? Don't come across salesy. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to help, then it's a matter of when you talk to these individuals, don't have an agenda, right? Don't have an agenda of trying to lead the conversation to Yoli. Just really, again, it's all about having that, and not that you don't, but because in the back of your head you want to bring up Yoli, it's going to come across like that's the only reason you're talking to them. So when you remove that agenda, then the real genuine concern for them will come across, and just really, it's all about letting them talk more than you, asking them how they're doing, or, well, you know, like just really, again, putting their needs before yours. And whether or not, look, the reality of it is we know that our products can help everybody, right? And whether or not they decide to do it, or even decide to listen to us about it, like I can't get hung up on that, you know what I mean? Like, we can't save everybody, you know? And so as long as you're coming from the right place of really just wanting to help them, everything else is in their court. You know what I mean? It's their decision whether or not they want to get healthy, or they're willing to do something about it, right? So when you go back, when you reapproach these people, don't even, in the back of your head, don't even think that you're trying to get them into a BVP or trying to get them to look at the system or whatever. Just talk to them and see how they're doing.
I have a part two to that.
Sure.
Because I just thought of it right now. But how soon is a follow-up too soon? Especially with somebody that knows the products, somebody that's seen the BVP. And it goes along with, how do I not sound so salesy?
Right,
They've
right.
seen it, they know it,
Right.
they've had results and listened to testimony.
Right.
How soon is a follow-up too soon?
Well, that's a kind of a loaded question because, you know, when you're talking about follow-ups or exposures, right? I call it exposures. So an exposure could be, hi, how are you doing? Let's talk about work, you know, just to build a relationship, right? But if you're talking about how soon is it too soon for me to pitch it, again, that's going to be the sales, right? Because you're thinking sales, like I got to pitch it again, and you're not really letting them tell you what their needs are, right? If you can figure out what their needs are and why they need the program or why they need whatever it is that you're trying to get to them, and then just build on that, then eventually they'll ask you for the kit, right? So.
Yeah, no, I think that's my issue. Well, they have cancer. I mean, the husband has an issue.
Yeah.
And so like I said, she knows it, she's heard it. I feel like at this point I'm totally salty. And I don't want to be
the last thing,
this.
especially with something that serious, the last thing you want anybody to think is that you're taking advantage of a serious illness just to sell your product, right?
Yes.
So for me, again, Jason was right on the nose. I mean, like, it depends on, you know, as far as like how soon is too soon, it depends on what you're going to talk to them about. For me, it's never too soon to ask somebody how they're doing, right? Like, and if that's the only thing you're doing, again, the genuine interest and concern for their well-being, then yeah, it's never too soon. It's never too soon to be somebody that somebody, to be a person that somebody can lean on. It's never too soon.
Thank you.
So we got a question here from Hana. So Ronnie, what was one of the mistakes that stands out for you that you made early in Yoli, and that you want to warn others about in their business?
Oh man, it's kind of a two-part answer. I mean, like, it's a novel. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Like the mistakes that we've made over the years. Just yeah, I still make mistakes. So I still make mistakes. So there's no such thing as perfection. But there is such thing as doing your best and working towards it. Some big mistakes that I went through or that I made and I see people making is investing too much time with somebody you think has the potential to be big in this business, right? And you end up dragging and pulling them and trying to push and coerce and to get them to do something, because you know that if they would just do it, they could be huge. So you're calling them every week and you're putting all your eggs in that one person's basket. Like I have so many people from the early days of my career in this that I invested so much time and energy in, and you know they're still not doing anything today, right? A kind of side mistake or a mistake point one to that is then what I did, a big mistake in the early days, was give up sponsorship in hopes to get that individual excited and get them going. Again, it really translated into nothing, and it actually slowed my business down quite a bit in hindsight. So don't worry so much about somebody who you think is going to be a big fish, because there's no such thing, right? Like that's when we say don't prejudge anybody who like, it goes both ways. Like we generally sometimes we think when we say prejudge, it's like, well, he's not going to do this business, he's not going to do this business. But when you say somebody's going to be a big fish or he's going to be a big deal, that's prejudging also, right? So everybody has the same potential or the same ability to do this business, and you just gotta, and nobody really you don't know if they're going to do it until they actually do it, right? So don't put too much energy in somebody that's not engaged. You know, don't try to motivate the unmotivated, because it's not possible. Just keep doing what you know you can control, and that's contacting, inviting, pressing play, and collecting a decision. Beyond that, everything else is just a waste of time.
Good answer. I like that.
That makes sense?
That makes total sense. Just want to kind of go through the thing. Everybody's right on board. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we do have a special guest watching us right now.
Hey,
Michael!
Michael Pritchard watching. Awesome. We love you, Michael.
What's up, brother?
Miss you. I don't even know where you are. You might be in India still.
Riding
or something,
an
right?
elephant somewhere, you know.
The elephant comes with Wi-Fi nowadays.
Wi-Fi elephant.
Wi-Fi elephant.
That's the next big thing.
Oh, we love you, Michael. We miss you, man. That's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, brother.
Yeah. Any other questions from the
Take one.
Gallery.
peanut gallery?
Either one of you, what was your turning point that finally kicked your Yoli business into gear?
I'll give that one to Jason.
What kicked my business into gear?
Or what happened in your mind where the light bulb finally went on, and then it was just history from basically that point on?
You want me to take it?
I mean that's a great question, and I have to go back to the very first diamond trip that we went to up in Jackson Hole. You know, got to spend a lot of time with a lot of these top leaders, and you know, at that point, everything had happened so quickly, just based on my physical transformation. Right? But in my mind, I still had the idea of, well, who am I to be a diamond? Right? I didn't feel of or entitled to that title or rank or whatever it is. And, you know, really in my own eyes, I was just a fat guy that got skinny. You know, and I only got skinny because Lisa said, you're fat, lose weight. So that's what I did. And it just started to take off. And, you know, at that point, you know, it's kind of fitting that we're in this room and Kina was sitting over there enjoying his dinner, cheering us on from the background. But but at a point, he actually gave me a call and he said, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you are? And I was like, man, I think I'm like a 4 or 3. And he hung up on me. He just straight up hung up on me. And I was like, what the hell? Right? Like, he looks shocked, so he doesn't even remember doing this to me. But I remember calling him back, and I was like, what? What do you... And he goes, oh, I only work with 8s and higher. So I kind of I was like, oh, okay. So I hung up the phone on him, right? So I was like, oh. And I was thinking to myself, like, well, what is it that makes you a leader that people want to follow? What is it that's going to propel you to that level that where you can live up to the rank, right? Because I mean, there's a lot of it's a rank. You can hit the rank by sheer force and determination, or you can grow into it, right? And at the Jackson Hole trip, we had an amazing time. And on the way back, I was actually not stuck. I was with Corey Citron and Ronnie Cruz. We ended up going to.
Stop there now.
Yeah, we were at the airport, and they had dropped us off like 3 hours too early. So we were in the airport in Jackson Hole for about 2.5, 3 hours. And then we ended up in Salt Lake where we all had, I think Corey had like a 2-hour layover, Ronnie had like a 4-hour layover, and I had like a 7-hour layover or something like that. So I was basically living in you know, Salt Lake Airport for a while. And it was really good to just connect with Corey. And then, you know, we were talking about tons of stuff that weren't even related to Yoli. It was just stuff, you know. And then when we were done, Ronnie and I were sitting down in between, like, phasing in and out of sleep, depression, deprivation. You know, we were like, falling asleep, wake up, I'd ask him questions. One of the things I asked Ronnie was, so on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you are, right? And he gave me his answers, and I said, well, what makes you say that number, right? And you have to remember, at this point, you had just gone double diamond.
Yeah, I was a double diamond.
So Ronnie was a double diamond. You know, a ton of us had beat him to that rank, and here he is making this charge coming through. And, you know, I said, well, what makes you feel like you're that number? And he said, well, I've been at this game a long time, and I've done a lot of homework. I've done my personal development. I've gone to conferences. I've done all these things that I've studied the industry. So I have a lot of knowledge to share, but my rank just hasn't caught up to me yet, right? So I thought about it and I said, okay, so what do? And Ronnie's big thing was go on a personal development binge. You know, I challenge you to do as much personal development as you can in the next year and see what happens, right? So it's really hard to pinpoint one exact moment, and I think that was the start of it. And then from there, I went on my personal development binge and started to learn more and be more engaged and study the industry and really start to progress. And that's when, you know, it's the compound effect. One change leads to another change, you know, and then, you know, here we are in Salt Lake on Facebook Live, hanging out in this room that's about to give me frostbite.
Yeah, it's really cold.
It's cold. So, Kinao said he can't feel his fingers, so you know how cold this is. But it's good, it's good. So I hope that answered your question, and I don't know if you want to.
Well, yeah, I mean, to kind of add to that, the question again was, what was the turning point, right? And for you and for you and your business when it started to really kind of game on. I've actually gotten that question a lot recently as well, and I always tell people it's I mean, there's no really one turning point, right? Like it's a series of lessons that you go through, and it's a progression. Like we never stop growing, right? Like we shouldn't. We should always be learning and striving to be better. So yeah, there are moments that are pivotal and that kind of, you know, turn this corner, and this moment may help me turn this corner. But it wasn't one moment that my entire success and career depended on. Like it wasn't one defining thing. It was a progression of things, and you really gotta embrace that. You know what I mean? Like don't expect for you to wake up one day after a fireside chat session with Jason and Ronnie that your business is going to be completely different in the morning, right? But the more you devote time to learning from the leaders and learning from the books, if you look at yourself today versus who you were 12 months ago, chances are you're going to be you're a different person, right? Because you've devoted that time to that and to that progress. You've devoted that time to that growth. So it's more of the thing that changes you and that changes your business is more of a behavior than an actual kind of moment, right? It's an ongoing behavior. Wait, giggling, you guys. They're making me self-conscious. It's more of an ongoing behavior.
I don't know what he's talking about.
He's very hurt by
I'm
that.
so sorry if I did. I didn't know.
And called me out.
He's held it on.
I just
The love-hate relationship between Jason and Kinao, it's the best.
got us our own rooms in.
Sorry, we're going off course here.
Digress.
We digress. It is a series, and you have to embrace the process. The issue is people don't embrace that process, and they're looking for that one aha moment. Whereas in reality, if they've been doing those things, and if they've been engaged in the behaviors of growth and personal development, then the changes will happen in time, and again, the business will catch up. So, and the caveat aside, point one to that, I like the point ones. Point one to that is having that knowing why you're doing this business in the first place, and having that drive to get you out of the house to do the things that you need to do in the first place, right? Like that's where it starts. I wasn't willing to let anything, including myself, get in the way, from the very beginning. So I stuck out and did the things, the personal development, and went through the crap and went through the struggles, because I wanted to succeed, and that driving force was strong enough for me to accept the process that I had to go through. Right? those are the things that you gotta find. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
Can we get? Can you guys, when next time she comes in, order some like hot tea for everyone? For me too.
Hot what?
Hot tea.
Betsy Nayata has a question.
Betsy.
Betsy, what has been the greatest advice for you since joining Yoli?
Wow, the greatest advice. Ooh, that's like years and years of advice.
That says that to order bulalo or
Sinigang!
We had sinigang today. So
We had sinigang today.
We had
and
sinigang
yesterday.
too, actually. Bulalo is good.
And pulalo and lechon, kawali.
The best piece of advice? Oh. Only work with ants. The best piece of advice? Man, it's been quite a lot. Never miss an event. I mean that's
sir.
like primo. If you haven't heard that yet, never miss an advice. An event. I'm sorry. Never miss an event. Best piece of advice. Wow. There's so much. Yeah, that's a pretty broad question, Betsy. It's Betsy, right? It depends. Okay, so the reason why we like this format is to get into specifics of, what maybe you or any individual is having a hard time with. So the best piece of advice, I could go all night about, what works, what doesn't work, what worked for me, my perspective. So if you could, and not that it's not a good question, but if you could, for our sake tonight, kind of narrow it down a little bit, and I'd be able to give you a more focused and better answer. Otherwise, it could be a million things, right?
Yeah.
There was another question. I'm sorry, I missed who it was from, but somebody who had said that they're brand new, just a few days into the business,
Nice.
and that they were wondering about the back office training, and it confuses her, and she's not really sure if there's a strategy to use to get the back office. That's kind of a quick answer. Don't worry about that. Do more BBPs. And it'll all work itself out later. Once you start making money and filling in the tree, it'll make so much more sense for you than right now seeing one dot at the top. With one dot, it's not going to make any sense. But as your organization starts to grow and develop, it'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you kind of learn as you go, and you don't really need to have a intimate grasp of the back office in order to build your business. That's point one that Jason's making. So your upline or your sponsor, if you have any questions about it, we'll be able to kind of guide you along the way. But don't think that it's necessary to know everything or to even know the basics about the back office in order to build this business. The things that you need to focus on, like Jason said, are the BVPs. Inviting people, contacting people, pressing play, collecting decision, all those things. That's where your focus should be. The back office is something that, when you need it, you can call people, call customer service. When you've got an application you need to put in, you need help, call your sponsor, call your upline, call customer service. That's easy peasy. You don't need to really kind of study that. Okay?
Find a tech guy. They'll figure it out and tell you all about it, more than you even need to know.
Exactly. But it's a good question.
It's a good question. My wife Lisa says, I don't care what the back office says, just show me the check.
I have another question.
Yes.
Actually, this is from Melanie. This is a more specific question, as I'm just a couple. Oh,
We just did
never
that.
mind. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, we got another question here, Ronnie. Amongst all your organizations, projects, passions that you conduct in your life, where does Yoli fall into your priority, or list how you determine top importance during that moment? See more. Question mark.
Question marks.
Okay.
Among all the things that we all have going on in our lives, right? Where does Yoli lie in terms of priority? Well, ranking things, it's not that it's any more important than the other things that I have going, or the other passions that I have. However, Yoli, the bigger picture of it is the vehicle for me to do those things, right? So in terms of importance, it's pretty darn important. Even before I was seeing any success or got any traction in my business, I treated it with utmost importance because I knew that it was going to, again, I did this thing because it was going to be the vehicle to a better life, financial stability for my family, allow me to pursue my dreams with more freedom, and all of the whole list of things of why I'm doing this thing. So yeah, it's absolutely important, and it ranks very high, and I treated it as the $1 million business that I knew it was going to be one day. And I continue to do so because, well, yeah, because it is. Right? I think hopefully that makes sense. So for you guys, again, if it's a matter of figuring out where Yoli fits into your life, just understand that this thing can allow you to have pretty much anything you can think of. So if you treat it that way, it will give you exactly that. Yeah. Of course, I know. Like starting off, we have to do it part time and all that stuff.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thanks, Rudy. But treat it with the importance that you would $1 million business, and it will down the road pay you like $1 million business. Thanks for the hot tea. I hope that makes sense. It is a very important part of my life. My life wouldn't be where it is today were it not for Yoli, and maybe definitely more importantly, the people who I've met because of this profession, because of this company. I know, you see me
Ronnie's got
shivering
the
up there. It's
shakes.
so cold. I can't even drink it because I'm going to spill it on myself. But yeah, no, it's very important to me, and I certainly hope that if there are some things that you want to achieve with your life, some things that you want to do and have for you and your family, and I certainly hope that you understand that it can give you those things if you rank it and treat it with the importance that it can have. No, I don't need gloves. Thank you. Yeah,
I should put my.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so cold. Oh.
I don't know if they can see that. It might be too far.
So we'll just rock this for a little while. You know.
We actually considered, and I tried to get him to do it. He's got this Chewbacca onesie, one piece. I told him to wear, but he didn't want to. He didn't want to. I think Jason was too shy to do it in a restaurant.
But with that being said, I figured I'd get it on here at least once.
Nice.
No, you can't see it. Any other questions?
Yeah, good
Let's
question,
see.
guys.
There is one.
Question.
If there is one book that really helped you in your personal development, which one was it? How did it help you be better in your business?
Okay, that's a good question, and I'm gonna let Jason answer because
You alluded to that self-development.
he may have a different answer.
Yeah. Let's see. One of my favorite books was The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. The reason why I love that book was basically because it explains why personal development is so important, right? And it explains why you need to keep doing it. And if somebody's telling you to do personal development and it feels like a chore or feels like homework to you, it's going to be a struggle to get through it. But if you realize why you need to be doing it, knowledge becomes almost like a drug, and you can't get enough of it. And it's just over and over and over, and you want more and more and more of it. And that's where it becomes, that's where you become unstoppable, right? Because it opens up the floodgates to learning. It opens you up to the understanding that you should always be learning, right? I mean, Ronnie said it earlier. We never stop learning, you know, whether it's from mentors or books or, you know, whatever it is. You talk to a lot of these billionaire business moguls and people who are, you know, the number ones in their companies. You know, they're always doing personal development. You know, it's really starts to open your mind, right, to that that realm, right? And I watched a YouTube presentation, and I totally forgot what the name of it was, but it basically was talking about what realities are you creating for yourself, right? And the way that YouTube went was your thoughts will control what outcomes you have. So if you're thinking personal development is hard for me, personal development, it feels like homework, I really don't need it, I don't want to do it, that's going to be your reality, right? And if you can flip that switch and all of a sudden think, personal development is something I need, I have to do it, it's like breathing, right? That starts to open you up to this whole wonderful world that's out there, you know, and it's almost like, you know, I'm a big football fan, so it's almost like getting the opposing team's playbook, you know, and putting it in front of you, because now when situations arise, whether it's, you know, drama or financial or whatever it is, you almost have a playbook of what other people have done in your situation that allows you to overcome that situation, you know, and it just really makes it a lot easier for you to progress along your business.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you brought up that video where it's like what you're thinking becomes your reality. I do love that book.
The book again was The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell.
John C. Maxwell.
So Twilight just asked to repeat it.
Yeah. John C. Maxwell, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. I actually also love that one, and that's one that I recommend to people, all people who are brand new to this business, and especially brand new to personal development. Like Jason said, it really opens up your mind to the possibilities of what learning and personal growth can do in terms of transforming your life. To kind of segue into with the previous thought that Jason had about, you know, your thoughts become your reality. And this was very early on in my career when this book was shared with me. It was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Everybody knows it. It's a classic, but for me, it really just kind of opened my eyes up to the possibilities of what can be achieved in this life, right? Having learned and gained wisdom from all the most successful people of the time and condensed into this one book, it really just is. I love it. It's my go-to, and it changed kind of the perspective that I had at the time. And then a few years after I first read that book, a gentleman who has since passed, a great guy, a friend of one of my sisters, has told me, because he knew I was in business, again, early in my career. He said, he asked me if I've read Think and Grow Rich. And this individual is a millionaire himself, very successful. I said, yeah, I love that book. And she did tell me that he was once told by a millionaire to read Think and Grow Rich once a year, and that if he did that, he would eventually become a millionaire. So I heard that story, and I took it to heart, and since then I've read that book. I read that book once a year, and I continue to do that practice today. And well,
so is it true?
the results, you know, you guys all know the results kind of speak for themselves. So I recommend that book to anybody that's interested in opening up, the many amazing, crazy possibilities that life can bring you. For sure. Read it once a year.
It works.
Casey asked about the the link for the YouTube. I'm sorry, Kisei, I don't remember what it was. If one of the people in our groups has that link, I know I posted it on my personal page a while back, and I think we had it in a group page a while back. If somebody can find that and post that link for KC, that'd be awesome. And thank you in advance, guys, for doing that. But it was really funny because it was just one of those things that I had been talking about to a few of the people that I do my daily or weekly mentorships with, and that video popped up, and I had to share it to everybody. So.
Tammy Bruins.
Oh, Tammy asked.
Tammy Brunski.
She asked. Scroll. Sorry.
What team building do you
There you
feel
go.
is effective when distance is an issue?
Tammy, where are you right now? We're here in Salt Lake. Hi. I think this is a great way to do it if you can figure it out. You know.
Well, Tammy, and I know there's going to be a bit of a lag in time, but what specifically, what do you mean by team building? We'll wait for the response.
Should take an intermission.
You need to go.
I gotta pee.
Cool. Okay. And we're going to take a...
I'm gonna take 5, guys. You guys can keep going.
Jason's going to take 5.
I need to run to the. I need to run to the
Run to the little
little
boys'
boys' room. We're gonna bring up a special guest right now. Kino Tollison's gonna take my seat
He's
for a
going to
little
sub
while.
out.
It's okay, Kino. Stop eating.
I got a question.
Okay, Rudy's got a question real quick.
Okay, the question is, when you first started, what were some of your daily rituals? You mentioned that you talked about, going after it crazy and being insane, but what are some of the daily rituals that you had that kept you going for 6 years?
Sure. Well, the main one is, okay, so there are not so much rituals. Well, one thing. Okay, so reading, daily ritual to this day. Right, I actually read more now than I ever have, and a lot of that because, like Jason said earlier, once you discover how much wisdom and knowledge is out there, you get hungry for more. So I'm trying to ingest as much knowledge and wisdom as I can, and books. I mean, it's all there, right? Like the wisdom of all of human history we have access to, especially like now that the internet's there. So I read and continue to read every day. Another thing that I like to do, and I still do to this day, is visualize. I did a lot of visualization, building dream boards, to make sure that I was always connected to my dreams, always connected to my why. A lot of times when we're in the field and we're getting beat up and we're in the trenches, it's easy to get discouraged and beat down and unconnected from that dream. So if you spend a couple minutes a day visualizing, where you're going to be in 5 years, or where this business is going to take you, to exotic islands, or to amazing beaches, or to the house of your dreams, or just being able to chill at home with your wife and kids, whatever it might be, make sure you're continuing to feed that dream, because it's going to be incredibly tough journey, and you're going to need that fuel to keep you going, right? So that's another ritual. And then besides that, trying to make sure, Toron, nice. Trying to make sure that I did the daily activities. Again, contacting, inviting, pressing play, and collecting a decision. Okay, so I speak a lot in I and me. I have to take a minute to recognize my younger sister Rowena, who was in the trenches and still is in the trenches with me every day. She's very instrumental to my success, our success. But we made sure to do BVPs at least once a week towards getting closer towards when we were really, really struggling, and you know, around the time when I was just beating my head against the wall, we actually upped it to do at least 2 BVPs a week. Whether or not people showed up, whether or not like I had anybody on my list to invite, those 2 BVPs a week were always scheduled, so that I had it allowed me, or it gave me the push and the drive to actually get out there, talk to more people, make more connections, so that I could eventually fill those BVPs. So those are again some rituals.
Did you already answer, Tammy?
Brush my teeth, shower. That's about it. And you know, take time at the end of the night when I couldn't do anything else for my business, to take time at the end of the night for myself to decompress and you know, just kind of let it all go and start afresh the next day.
Did you already answer Tammy's question?
No, we haven't gotten to Tammy's
Okay,
yet.
Tammy's response was to keep people feeling with the BLP from greater distances. Let's see. Doing BLP or keeping it going for all to feel that BLP. This is great banana lumpia.
It's really good. Wait, sorry, Tammy. And it's so good. BLP from far away. Well, I mean, it's like how do you keep in touch with good friends and family? You know what I mean? Like, early days in North Carolina, and there's still not that many members in North Carolina. But at the time, I was the only one. My sister and I were the only ones. My sponsor, the great and wonderful Mr. Eugene Hong. Eugene. He of course lived on the other side of the country, complete opposite end. So yeah, I mean we kept in touch. We still do, regular basis. If not once a day, you know, definitely a bunch of times a week. And I don't know. I always felt connected. Again, for me, it was a matter of always having that drive and knowing that I wasn't going to stop because I wanted to fulfill my goals and my dreams. Was it lonely? Yeah, there's nobody out there on the East Coast at the time. Chris was Medina, 8-hour drive away. So how do you give them the BLP? You can fly there. But I think more importantly, the thing you can do is really make sure that they're connected to the reason why they're doing this business, and that they have that fuel, that driving force to keep them going, because it's going to feel lonely. Whether or not you're in a region in a market where there's 100 members or 1,000 members, or you're the only one, this road of building a direct selling network marketing business, yeah, it's going to feel like a lonely road, regardless, right? So you have to have that drive and that battery that keeps you going, despite the lack of or the feelingness of alone, right? Beyond that, make sure they go to the events. You know, again, contact them on a regular basis, check in on a regular basis. Really make sure that the individuals on your team that are at a distance, make sure that they know how much you care, and that'll be enough.
I think it's honestly, you want to try to go out there and find that person that's out there that's going to be able to carry on that BLP for you, right? It's a great opportunity if there's no one in that area providing that BLP to actually become the person that does it for everybody else. You know, let them step up into the leadership role and let them carry it on for you, and you know, that'll really help as well, because in your absence they can take over, right? But you need to have a really good relationship with the person that's in the remote area, and really have them understand that it's going to be rough at the beginning because you're the only one out there, you know, and it's just something you have to go through. I mean, it provides great opportunity because you're in an untouched market, but also there's a lot of challenges that arise with it. So I hope that helps. Another question we have is, what advice would you give your leaders who seek help with how best to juggle family, life, spouse, partner, children, jobs? For most people, find it difficult to juggle an all or nothing, never miss an event. We are going to sacrifice now to live greater later mentality for any sustained amount of time. What are some suggestions that you know of that have worked for yourself, for those you know? For me personally, I signed up for this business without my wife's knowledge. I figured I would just sleep on the couch for a little while. And we had done it for a little bit, and I pretty much just got seated down and sat down and said, you've got 1 year to do this. You either make it happen or you find something else. And that was enough for me to put a timeline on it, right? I mean, there has to be something that's going to really drive you and push you to do this business. Can it be done in a year? You know, I've seen a lot of people do it in a year. I've seen people do it in 5 years, 10 years, whatever it might be. But the real question is if you're having an issue, giving it an all or nothing mentality, where's your personal commitment level, right? Where are you going to take it? Where are you going to take it to, right? And if that's an issue, set a timeline for yourself. You know, lay it down in writing and say, "Hon, I'm going to do this in the next year, and if not, I'm going to figure out something else to do," or whatever it might be. You know, and a lot of times, you might not be exactly where you want to be in a year, but your wife or spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever it is will see some kind of progression in you and some kind of growth that you're going through, and they'll be okay with giving you a short-term extension, you know, another short-term extension, another short-term extension, or whatever it might be, and you just have to work it out with them and really be upfront and honest. And you know, even like children, you know, we have 2 kids at home, and thank you. I get a lot of the, you know, "Daddy, we don't want you to go," when I'm walking out the door. But again, it's a lot of sitting them down and just saying, "Hey, look, this is what Dad's got to do for us to be able to go on these long trips, for us to be able to not have to work so I can coach your baseball team or take you to swim or pick you up from school. You know, these are the things that I have to do." And you'll be surprised. I mean, our youngest is 6, and he gets it. Like he cries a little, but he understands, and he'll snap out of it pretty quickly because he knows that's what we have to do, right? So you just need to have that conversation with your spouse, with your children. A job, it's really hard because you have vacation time and things like that. But again, you know, like Jim Rohn always says, you know, you work part-time on your full-time for what?
Working full-time at your job.
At your job to pay your bills.
Part-time.
While you're working part-time on your fortune, you know, and it's a necessary evil. You're going to have to do it. So there's really nothing you can do to get around that. I mean, for as many times as you can get out, for as many events that you can get out to them. But of course, you know, if you only got 2 weeks of vacation, 1 week is on a destination trip, you have to prioritize that and kind of figure it out on your own scales.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I did personally. I had to really set up kind of like a timeline and put myself under the clock, you know, and show that this is not just another silly hobby, or it's just not another one of those things, right? So that's kind of you know, what.
See that, guys? See that?
This is amazing food coming all the time.
Barbecue. big shout out and thanks to Trent for
Trent,
being
oh,
so
look at
good,
this.
and Rudy for helping
We've
us out.
got some
Yeah.
we've got some spring rolls, some barbecue skewers.
Oh, did everybody eat? Okay. Okay, so yeah, Jason's exactly right. If I may put things, give it a little bit of a different, a little bit of a different perspective. I think like what I hear the question and what I hear is like what level of sacrifice do I have to make to be successful, right? Like what do I have to give up to be really fully committed to succeeding in this business, and like I never really thought about it in terms of giving up anything, right, or sacrificing anything. I mean, like, okay, so I don't have kids that I know of. I'm not married. I have the dogs, and the dogs are totally, I was like, we'll have more nap times if I work at this, whatever. They were happy with it. But for me, the mindset. My mindset was always that the sacrifice isn't in the time it takes to build this business. The sacrifice was me having to report to a job because I had to pay the bills. You know what I mean? The sacrifice was going to the job, taking the time away from what I know is going to build my fortune, right? Because we don't think as our day-to-day jobs, our JOBs, as a sacrifice. When in reality, it's taking way more of your time away from your loved ones and away from your family. But you don't think of it as a sacrifice because you do the work. This week, you get paid next week, right, or whatever. It's a quicker kind of exchange for effort for dollars. Whereas in our profession, in this business, we don't get the reward right away, so we think of it as a sacrifice. When in reality, I mean, obviously you guys know the potential of what this business can do if you put the time into it. So, again, for me, the sacrifice isn't in doing this business because this business can give you and provide for you exactly the life that you want. You can build exactly the life for you and your family that you want, whether it's big houses, fancy cars, or a small cabin in the woods. You can have that exact thing, and this business can be that vehicle for you. So, for me, it was never a sacrifice. It's what you need to do in order to fulfill your dreams. Now, if you're happy with where you are, and again, for me, it's no judgment. I make no judgments on jobs. If you're fulfilled, if you're happy where you are, then that's fine. That's fine. But if you're looking at this business, and if you're unhappy, and if you want to make a change, and you've seen this business, and you're looking at this business as that vehicle to make those changes, it's not going to be a sacrifice because, again, this business is what's going to bring you closer or bring you all the way to achieving your goals, right? Right? When you look at it in those terms, there is no sacrifice because, again, I was willing to do whatever it took to live the life that I want to live, because we only get one go at this, guys, right? We only get one shot on this ball of rock that's hurtling through space. So do it up. Live exactly. We have the potential and we have the ability to live exactly the life that we want to live. Sometimes that gets drummed out of us, and we end up doing the things that we feel we need to do in order to just survive, right? Long story short, this isn't, in my book, never was a sacrifice. For me, it was just the right thing to do. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
That was a little kind of long, drawn out answer.
So we had another question that came through on Facebook about the exact point that I lost the
Oh,
question.
it's so tender. It's so good. Please, give me
Someone talks about your car or crying about when they hear your story. Can you go back to a specific time and recall what specifically clicked for you to use Jolie as your vehicle to success? And I think we had covered this a little earlier, and it wasn't. It was kind of just a. It was something you knew from the very get-go.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think at the time that you were doing it, there was something, about the circles that were drawn on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
That just made sense.
For me, I go ahead. It's easier going over there. For me, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I'm wired. Like I was never really good at working for anybody else. I was never really good at being in that kind of structure where I have to clock in every day, I have to report to somebody every day. I have to be watched. My performance, all this stuff. So I could never really hold down a job, right? Like to be employed as a source of income and livelihood just it didn't make sense to me. It might be the artist in me. But I'm just not wired that way. So when I first saw network marketing, when I first saw this profession, and they were going through the presentation, and this was like 15 years ago, drawing the circles, and this is what you can make if you bring in this many people, and the 5 will bring 5. You know what I mean? I fell in love with it. Like it made perfect sense. Like the income potential with on top of the fact that it's residual, so I could have an income coming in, coming out, coming in week after week, without having to report to a job every day. I mean, like, yeah. When in my mind, I'm like, why aren't more people doing this? So in that first company, I fell in love with it. I signed up right away. Failed miserably. But that just that led to kind of opening up my mind that there were other options out there to create a life, or even just to create livelihood. And you don't have to be making $1 zillion in this profession to be successful. If you can bring in an extra $400 or $500 a month into your household, that's a big difference, man. That's a car payment. That's paying for the electricity and the phones. You know what I mean? And that could go a long way, paying off debt, whatever it might be. That could go a long way to really helping the average American household, right? So yeah, I just and the thing is, not a lot of people, or at least at the time, not a lot of people really knew about this profession and the possibilities that it could bring. So yeah, I mean, I loved it, and I just committed to making it happen, because the other option was to sit in an office or to sweep popcorn for the next 40 years. I would have probably picked sweeping popcorn over sitting in an office, and that's really not a great option. So I mean, not so much, at least financially, anyways. So yeah, I mean, I fell in love with it immediately. And as far as Yoli, well, it just the right people were putting it together. I was with I had the right mentors helping me, and along the way, yeah, it was just a natural journey.
All right.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I mean, we've been live for almost an hour and a half now.
Should we wrap?
One last question.
One last question. Yeah.
You got one last question, either from the audience or from the viewers at home?
I do. Okay, so I know you need a list. Of course you need a list. Okay, I think maybe I just, okay.
Answer
what
your own
do I
question.
do when my list gets dry? My biggest thing is that I feel like I've exhorted all of my contacts, and then I get a new member and work on there. So I get, you have to always have a strong list. I feel like I've exhorted dry contacts. And
Sure.
when it gets dry, do I look for more new, fresh blood, work on their list? Yeah.
Okay, so this is a list question. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, what happens when my list runs out, Jason? And I'll be back. It's my turn for a 5-minute break. But, yeah, I'll chime in when I get back.
All right. So, I mean, the funny thing with that is, what would you do if you ran out of contacts? Find more people, right? You know, and we had talked about this last night at one of our powwows, and basically what we said is, you go out and you meet more people in your cold market, build relationship with those people in your cold market, make them your warm market. From your warm market, transfer them into your list, right? So as long as you're willing to go out and talk to people on a regular basis, make friends, you know, and that's one of the things, just make more friends. You know, if you can make more friends, constantly make more friends, your list should never dry out. You know, and that's kind of the easiest answer and the only answer, I guess. If your list runs out, make a bigger list. Find people to put on the list.
I have a part 2 to that question.
Okay.
So, the reason why my list keeps getting dry is because it's like my members don't see what, you know, what Ronnie was just talking about is, you know, instead of building your fortune, your business, and they've met the people that they know, it now feels like it's almost a much harder.
Sure.
Is it because, I mean, how do you keep them focused? How do you keep people motivated? And I admit, you know, maybe I did kind of slow down. Like, I know I need to pick up with the BBs. But once I felt like things was rolling, now I'm at the point where I need to reach out. Reach up and reach out.
Sure.
Sorry.
You know, there's that old adage, the speed of the leader and the speed of the pack, right? So one thing to do is to look inwards and figure out where you are, right? The other part about that is, I know it's almost impossible to motivate somebody to do anything. You know, I mean, you can get them excited for a little bit, but that true motivation, that drive that's going to take them to the next level, it's got to come from within. So I think the only thing that you can really help them do is to figure out what is going to drive them, right? What is the emotion that's going to drive them to continue and push forward and do this for themselves, right? I mean, because if you have to sit there and you have to drag them through the mud every day, you know, you're going to get so tired and burnt out from doing that day in and day out that you're never going to want to do anything, right? So, you know, I think that's kind of, you have to look at what's in it for them and what's going to motivate them, right? And it's a question that, you know, is probably as old as time.
Yeah.
The question was, you know, her members are kind of unmotivated, and what can she do to make them see the bigger picture?
Which is why I feel like I'm
So,
Gotcha.
But no, Jason, yeah,
Makes sense?
yes. Thank you.
cool. And then I think there was another question, but I missed it. Shoots. Shoot, I missed the last question that came through. It was on there, but and again, I think this goes back to how you brought the person into the business to begin with. You know, did you convince the person to join the business? Did you have to close them, right? No, they just wanted it. They saw it. They didn't do anything. Okay, so I mean, there's a lot of different venues that you could branch out from there, but I mean, I think the biggest one is just try to help them find what's gonna push and motivate themselves. You know, that's all I can really.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's all you can really do. I mean, there's you and I say it a lot. You can't. There's no amount of motivation that I can give you if you're not committed to it. You know what I mean? Like, and so as leaders, of teams and as sponsors of people, one of our biggest, most important jobs is getting people connected to the reason why they're doing this business, so that they have that drive. So yeah, I mean, reconnect with them. I don't know how much or how involved you are with them or how connected you are with it. But the best place to start is let's get together and just let's catch up. Let's just shoot the breeze. Again, without any agenda. Just be a friend. And then beyond that, I'm sure Jason covered it about your list. I mean, make more friends. You don't strike me as a shy individual, let's say. So I don't think that'll be an issue for you at all. So, and that's all it is. Growing your network is just going out and making new friends, and then going from there.
Okay. Thanks, you guys.
The Girl Scouts have a song
Hey.
that they sing about making friends, keeping your olds.
Girl Scouts.
Girl Scouts.
Dead mother. He is. No, I'm not kidding. So yeah, were you able to find that question?
No, I wasn't able to find it. Brian McCoy just signed on. Chris Medina was on.
Nice. What's up,
What's up, guys?
Daniel was on.
Daniel was on. Saw Daniel pop through. Rudy's out.
What's up, everybody?
All right, brother. See ya.
Normally we don't do this on TV, but
Yeah. And I think we might actually get kicked out of the restaurant pretty soon.
Is it not good?
It's almost 9, yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the question about the title of the book?
No. All right, everybody's thanking us and wrapping it up. I know there was a question out there.
Yeah, and if there was anything that we didn't get to tonight, I think, Jason, that this was a pretty big success. And the format works out really well. So we're definitely going to be doing this more. I think it gives people access to and I've always liked the Q&A format because again it gets to issues and questions that you may have and aren't able to get answered in a timely manner. So I love doing this, and I think we'll definitely do it again in the future.
We're gonna have to travel with our stage.
We gotta bring this stage.
This room was staged
Or
just right.
Fly to Salt Lake every time we do
We
it.
did it. But we gotta get a warmer room.
Space heaters
It's about to
next time.
snow in here.
But yeah, so Jason, any final thoughts?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I like the fact that you guys are giving us much love out there. All the thumbs up coming across the screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's awesome. So I think we can definitely do more of this and maybe even try to rip it and put it up on our YouTube channel.
Put it up on, and I know it gets saved, right?
It gets saved.
Yeah,
I think
so-
this will be saved.
Yeah, it's long, I know, but I'm pretty sure Facebook saves these lives, and so you guys can go back, rewatch it, hopefully if it's saved, and then pass it on to your team and share it with your people. You know what I mean? And have, we'll hopefully eventually over the long term have a library of these available online so that you guys can look back on. So yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, stay hungry, stay learning, stay growing, and we'll catch you in some other corner of the world doing another Facebook Live Fireside Chat.
Fire. We need a fire next time.
We need a fire.
Next time. All right, guys. Thank you.
Peace. Love you guys.
Fix.
Finish.